Thank you for joining us today for the virtual Sunday service with the Center for Creative Living. I'm Reverend Dr. Ayleen Augustine, President of the Universal Church of the Master. Founded in 1908, UCM has held as its foundation that just as many rivers lead to the same ocean, each person's unique spiritual path is to be honored and nurtured. CCL, a charter of the Universal Church of the Master, has served and supported the spiritual needs of its community here in the Bay Area for over 20 years. Now, with a special welcome, the head pastor of the Center for Creative Living, Reverend Doti Boon.
Welcome to the Center for Creative Living, and this is coming to you from my home. Yep, I'm staying in place, as not only the government say, my doctor says, everybody I know says, Dottie, stay home. So we're doing church from here, and you have reached the Center for Creative Living Sunday service with Reverend Doti Boon and lots of other folks. Our Reverend Janet Child is going to be singing and doing meditation. So many things are happening, and then Reverend Corky Whitaker is behind the camera.
Hello.
Welcome. And so we're so glad to have you here. And as we go through today, we want you to give us a call. If you have any issues, if you have problems, if you'd like to get a copy of the Center for Creative Living's CCL Insight that we send out once a week, if you'd like to know a schedule of who's still going into the office or who's doing it virtually, call our office at area code 408-392-9090 and say, I would like to have, and let us know what we can do to help you. If you'd like to make appointments with any of our practitioners, call them directly. And if you'd like to get a reading by me, call the same office, 408-392-9090. Now, this has been a very difficult week. So many of you are staying at home, like I am, and you're finding yourself wondering what you could be doing next. What is it that you could do to help you during this difficult time? One of the things that you can do to help you is to start looking at comedies on the television, start downloading fun things that make you laugh, read books that are positive. We are going to be going into a time when people are learning how to live with themselves. Not just stimulation from all sorts of other things, but going back into daydreaming and writing and being a part of their own world. It's not going to last forever. If you find it difficult, it really isn't.
An opening prayer by Reverend Dr. Ayleen Augustine. All right, now take a nice deep breath in and let it out. And settle yourself wherever you're sitting, however you're positioned, just make yourself as comfortable as possible. Now take another deep breath in and let it out. And as you exhale, release anything that is weighing on your body, your mind, or your spirit. Because in this moment and in this space, you don't need to hold on to it. And you can even picture a small little basket next to you, your care basket. And just let anything that is pressing on your mind and preventing you from being in this moment, just sense it falling into that basket, because you don't need to hold on to it right now. Dear, blessed, and wonderful Creator, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for our lives. We thank you for all the gifts you give in each and every moment and with each and every breath. We thank you for all that we have and all that we are. We thank you for the blessing of, and please bless this community and all the people of it. Thank you for the blessing of our ability to connect and to still be in fellowship with one another and to share our love for you as we receive that love. Creator, these are some very difficult times, and it's so hard to remember that you're there. But we know that you're right there next to us saying, it's all right. I haven't left you. I would never leave you. There are things that must be endured, and I would never bring you to a place where I would leave you alone. You have the ability to endure this, and I will help you. It's scary. And Creator, we know that you're holding our hand. And we know that ultimately your will would never take us where your grace will not sustain us. Creator, thank you for the blessing of, and please bless all of those who are actively fighting this crisis and who are working to improve the situation. From the scientists and the doctors all over the world who are trying to find a cure, to the doctors and nurses that are working the hospitals and emergency rooms, and the technicians and all those who are participating, the emergency medical teams and all of the first responders, and all of those who are taking care of the animals during this time. Creator, we thank you for all of them and all the other essential, people out there who put themselves at risk in order to take care of the rest of us. We thank you for the blessing of, and please bless all of the cashiers and the garbage men and all those others who are out there taking care of us and continuing their work. We ask that you bless and protect them. Creator, we pray for all of those who are the most vulnerable, because we also know they are the most frightened. We know that you're there. And may they feel your presence. May they feel your love. Surround them and enfold them. Creator, thank you for the blessing of the technology that allows us to reach out to one another. And may we always remember that there is a gift even in the darkest of times. And a part of that gift is our opportunity to be quiet, to be still, and to be with you. To go into that prayer, because these are the times that we have been training for. This is the work that you have given us. These are the times that we are going to be able to hold up that light that you placed within each and every one of us. Creator, thank you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for all of the ways that you demonstrate that you are there and that you will guide us through this. Thank you for your love, and thank you for teaching us to love one another. And whatever it means to you, Creator, we hope that you have a wonderful day. For all your creation to the next 7 generations and beyond. Aho Matak Oyasin. Ago, 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 by earth, sea, and sky. Namaste, shalom, assalamu alaikum. Blessed be. Amen. And now, a guided meditation and music with Reverend Dr. Janet Childs.
My friends, we are going to the banks of a river. And this river allows us to be cleansed renewed, to be healed, and to be made whole. So allow yourself to take a nice deep breath. And go to your favorite river. It might be a river in your imagination, but in this river, you will be washed clean. And just allow yourself to be filled with the soothing, cleansing waters as you step into this river and allow the healing to fill you up and wash away all burdens of pain, guilt, anger. For this is the river of truth and the river of kindness. This river flows with the abundance that goes beyond time. Just allow the waters to gently wash you clean of any burdens, any heartbreaks. And it's the perfect temperature. And you know in your heart that it is time to release and let go of all that you are carrying. When you feel ready, my friends, just allow yourself to gently walk out of the river to the shore, feeling light and renewed and totally present to the universe in all of its kindness, in all of its hope. And just allow yourself to lay down by the banks of this river, knowing that you indeed can come to this renewing wellspring anytime you need to. Kindness flows from the heals the broken, cracked soil, and the sunrise shimmers with our new birth. There is a reckoning within our souls. There is a beckoning, calling us home to behold. Kindness flows, heals the cracked soul, heals the cracked, broken soul. There is this reckoning within our souls. There is a beckoning, calling us home to be whole. Our hearts open to the song of forgiveness. Our minds stretch for the source of light, and in every act of mercy and justice, we hold true to our clear sight. And now the river of kindness dances to the ocean of peace. We are held dearly in the arms of our comfort, of our release. There is a reckoning within our souls. There is a beckoning, calling us home to be whole. We are whole.
Our talk for today: be kind.
Good morning. I'm Chris Brown, and I'm pleased to deliver a talk today that I'm calling Be Kind. Be Kind. We all find ourselves today in an unprecedented time. Across the globe, the human family is suffering. And for once, this suffering is not specifically meted out by one or more less defined sets of people against another defined or less defined set of people. Today, we are all at the affect of an invisible, microscopic, advancing adversary. For some, it is yet outside the gates, and indeed for many, it has already arrived. It would seem that truly, in the greatest sense since time immemorial, we are all in this together. And yet, you could say that it is in fact our togetherness, at least our physical togetherness, that may be our greatest vulnerability. We have been asked to distance ourselves from one another. For some, implementing this distancing means departing from our site of employment, working from home, and struggling to fulfill professional objectives and remain a fortunate wage earner. For others, this distancing has meant the loss of family activities, celebrations, collective worship, rites of passage, even the opportunity to mourn our losses together. And for hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of others, this extraordinary situation has called them forth to be frontline heroes, day after day, week after week, in cities and towns alternatively devoid of visual human presence or littered with the sacred casualties of this tragic season. To keep our essential services running so that our nation, our global family, is literally fed and sheltered so that it does not die. In such momentous uncertainty, there is a tendency to think about myself first. Where can I get the necessities that I need to keep my home and my family safe and supplied? How much should I stock up? How will I replenish a month from now? How will I survive without X? What happens if we run out of Y? There's nowhere to find Z. Such thoughts weigh heavily on most of us, especially those of us who are providing not only for ourselves, but for a loved one, a family member, children. I will survive, but my charge will not. Or maybe simply, I will not survive. In times of stress, we become reactive rather than responsive. We operate out of our thoughtless, heartless lizard brain. What do I need? How can I get it? What will happen if I don't? While these reactions are normal, they may not bring us the results that we really want. We may end up sitting on a mountain of money, for example, with no friends or anyone to care for us or for us to care for. So how do we rise up from this fear and despair and regain our God-given balance? How do we lift our eyes up and take a new perspective? How do we approach our situation soberly in a responsive way, not reactive? How do we make good decisions in times of unprecedented stress? And how do we maintain our full responsibility as a human being, a member of the global community? I want to offer one idea here today, just one. Not a list of to-dos and myriad strategies for success, just one. Be kind. Be kind. Be kind. Caring for others is a natural attribute of being human. A conscious decision not to care for others, or the inability to find compassion for others, is considered a failure that keeps us outside the human family. It is a tricky time right now to show our care for others. In the past, we might have shown our care by giving someone a hug or sitting with them in their despair. Perhaps we would share an outdoor event, or go see a movie together, or have dinner with good company. So many ways we are used to sharing and caring. So in this time of recommended physical distancing, how do we show the care and compassion that nurtures us and others? In some cases, this is really easy. It's easy to be kind to those you love, those who have shown love and kindness to you in return. And well, we should take that moment to be kind. But we can also extend our kindness to others. What about the store clerk, the gas station attendant, the pharmacist, And even if you're not going outside, what about the postal carrier, the delivery person, the police and city officials? If you're on social media at all these days, it's not hard to find great, moving stories about the young man who delivered groceries to his infirm coworkers, the children who played a cello concert on the porch of an elderly neighbor, the sheriff who donated his own supply of face masks to a speeding motorist when he found out that she was a doctor rushing to her shift at the hospital. Let these stories, the good ones, be your template. How have I contributed to the happiness or joy of one person today? How have I shown my gratitude to one service provider today? How have I loosened the clutch that I have on my stash in order to keep a fellow human alive to see another sunrise? In all your dealings, in all your transactions, in all your phone calls, even all your online interactions, be kind. Assume the best. Ignore the worst. Forgive false steps and missed opportunities. We are in this together. Be kind. Even with family members and neighbors who are getting on your nerves, the janitorial supply house who can't ship toilet paper for at least 5 weeks, the teenager revving his motorcycle in the street while you're on a conference call. And yeah, that happened to me this week. And let's not forget ourselves. One of the people I am most apt to be critical of is me. In moments of forgetfulness, I can trash myself better than anyone. I have the uncanny talent of comparing my insides to other people's outsides. I rarely come out the winner in these contests. Or worse, sometimes I step into my superiority. I'm not like you, and that makes me better than you. I have the right to that prize more than you do, because after all, I'm on the right side of this contest. So how do I come back to balance? I have to remember that I too am a delicate, even fragile human being with great talents and great sensitivities. I am in as much need of forgiveness and compassion as the next person, no matter how I think I stack up against him or her. So in my practice, I go back to, what do I know? What do I know about me? And here's where I start. I believe that I've been created in the image and likeness of God, that I am unique in all the universe, and I have a right to be here. Some 50 years ago, I was introduced to a piece of literature, a poem, that has proven to be one of the most significant foundations of my life. The loving counsel in this poem filled gaps in my heart, gaps that I had no idea even existed, and I want to share a portion of that poem with you today. From 1927, this poem was distributed as a Christmas card by a deputy state's attorney named Max Ehrman from Terre Haute, Indiana. Some of you may be actually quite familiar with this poem. It's entitled Desiderata. And here are some excerpts. Go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others. They too have their story. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of God, a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt, the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you consider God to be. And whatever your labors and aspirations, in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace with your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful. Strive to be happy. Okay, now that we've put ourselves back together, strengthened, nurtured, gentle, maybe even happy, how do we work well with others, especially in times of stress? It is helpful to recognize and remember that different people deal with stress in different ways. And most especially, what is kind and nurturing to one person may not meet the needs of another. In fact, it may be completely irritating to that person. If the interaction is with someone that you know well, you may already have an idea of what would make their day. A smile, a thank you, a bottle of hand sanitizer, a 4-pack of toilet paper, even as a joke, can be well received. Some folks may find that their time alone is actually very productive. Maybe they have time to pursue interests that keep them socially distant, writing music or finishing that novel that's been birthing for 5 years. For these folks, let them know that you appreciate what they are producing and send them very lightly love and support over the airwaves. Some folks may be refreshed by speaking with you on the phone, exchanging email messages, maybe a news item here or there, or recipes for cookies or comfort food. For these people, let them know what you love about them and why you cherish them. You may find that some of your friends are actually relieved for the new spatial distancing requirements. In a world where people are commonly fairly close together, these folks are discovering that they have required empty space. That buffer allows them to suddenly breathe. Maybe for the first time in months or even years. Putting demands on folks who are just barely breathing again can send them back to hunkering down in the dark well. To support these people, let them know that you respect their sense of timing and you will be there for them when they are ready to interact. Honor their new space for breathing. Still others will want to find something very active to focus on, whether they're out volunteering at the local food bank, making fundraising phone calls, or maintaining tabs on the elderly in their neighborhood. You can support them by recognizing their need to be actively engaged in these worthwhile undertakings. And yet other people may have already determined how they will survive and thrive through this situation. And they may want most for you to simply stay away. Let them know that you honor this request and don't cross that boundary. On the other hand, if you find that you're having trouble solving an important problem, people who are well organized may be a good resource for you. They may enjoy putting their analytic talents to work for you. So again, some people need certain kinds of kindness, and other people need others. So check in, see what works best for them. As I was preparing my talk over the past week, I found that there was a dark shadow in my field. It didn't take me long to uncover what my subconscious was trying to tell me. So I'm going to talk now about the hard stuff. The hard stuff about being kind. And what I'm about to say is very personal to me. I don't mean to suggest that I'm right, but I want to share with you some ideas in case they're helpful to you to take your own journey through this unexplored country, this unexplored year 2020. Let's remember that at this time in history, we are experiencing the unknown, unlike generations. As a country for 75 years, we've been moving forward, self-determined, and seemingly successful. We are supposed to be enjoying unmatched peace and prosperity and good health. And yet, we are all at risk. And in particular, our elders are significantly greater risk than the general population. So I've been thinking about this. We don't necessarily have time to wait, to equivocate. That means to avoid committing oneself, to precarivate. I can't say that word. To prevaricate. That means to hedge. In my opinion, when it comes to our elders, time is not on our side. So I have experienced a number of epiphanies in this arena in the past week, and I want to share these with you. First of all, I myself am an elder. I qualified early on for working from home. I'm deeply grateful that I'm fortunate to earn a full paycheck. I hope this will continue, but I'm aware that there are no guarantees. Additionally, I've not ventured outside in 3 weeks. We are well supplied in food and freezer items, but we're running out of dairy. How important is it to me to have milk in my coffee or cheese on my chili? Second, my partner is younger than me and healthy, and my parents are both deceased. But I have a remaining elderly family member who lives in a senior care home in Southern California. In the past few years, I've had a somewhat strained relationship with this person, and I recently had a rather disappointing interaction with her, where I felt less important to her than I had hoped. I had become reconciled to that strain a month ago, but with this new situation, the question is up again. Third, I have an adult family member who has a history of abuse of myself and others, from whom I am unilaterally estranged. I had made peace with the estrangement, but again, even now, that question has come up. And fourth, just the other day, I suddenly remembered that I have an ex-husband whom I adore, and he also qualifies with his partner as high risk. I am terrified for their household and their collective health. So while I could push these unwelcome thoughts aside about my strained family relationships, it was the thought of losing my beloved ex-husband in particular, or seeing him in deep grief for his own loss, that sent me reeling in panic. I could lose one or more of these relatives in the blink of an eye. Am I prepared for that? So even though as a member of the Center for Creative Living, CCL, I understand how we can continue our communication and our relationships with folks after they pass through the veil, still, I want to be sure that I'm not simply avoiding an unpleasant task out of fear or indulgence or condescension. So I've described in talks before how I prepared for the death of my mother and father, and I had decades earlier made a commitment to regret nothing at their passing. I let that goal be my guiding star, to inform my choices in regards to all my interactions with them. And in fact, to my happy relief, when the time came, it turns out that I was successful. And being able to pass that time with no regret was probably one of the most important feats of my life. So I do have some practice at successful compassion and forgiveness. But in the matter of my elderly relative, who was dismissive of me, or the historically abusive family member, where do I stand? And what does it mean to be kind in either of these two situations? So as I considered the situation with the elder, I asked myself, what is holding me back? What am I afraid to let go of? What am I afraid to receive? Is this resistance appropriately self-protective? Am I willing to become momentarily uncomfortable in order to take true account of my hesitancy? And what does it mean to be kind in a challenging situation such as this? So to get some help with this question, I had an honest conversation with a friend whom I trust with my innermost thoughts. And through our discussion, it became clear that my parental adult was trying to be grown up about the more rational aspect of the situation, trying to treat it with a stiff upper lip. You should set your feelings of being slighted aside and make generous contact with your elderly relative. She may not survive this challenging time. And how righteous are you going to feel about that perceived slight after she is gone? And you didn't lift a finger. You didn't lift a finger to mend the rift. And as I unburdened these deep-seated fears to my friend, another voice also came to the fore. Yes, but I am the very small person in residence here in your body. You are supposed to protect me. I don't feel safe around this person. She's been really mean to me. I don't trust her. Who will protect me? How will I feel safe if you open conversation with her again? Remember the other times that we really got hurt? I don't think I can survive another assault. I need you to take care of me. Who's more important, her or me? Wow. I quickly understood that the only way that I was going to be able to move forward with integrity would be to somehow address both my desire to care for my relative, but also my commitment to keep my inner self safe. So, with my friend, we explored the idea that not every action, not every person is intentional or malicious. And in this case, my inner self and I could agree that my relative is actually not intentionally malicious. But it's also true that a person can be hurtful without consciously trying to be malicious. My kid needed that mean person to take a time out. And as an adult, I needed to enforce it. Well, once the idea of a timeout was committed to, I could feel my body relaxing. I had named the fear. I had acknowledged its source and its effects, true and perceived. And I had ascertained that the actions themselves were not intentional. Now I had to make sure that I could show up to be the protective sentinel or mama bear that was needed for my inner family. My training in energy work has given me these skills, and I was able to put them to work to make appropriate preparations, to shield my vulnerability appropriately in order to be fully present with an open heart. In effect, to be kind with complete integrity. And in fact, when I made a call to my relative later in the day, shields in place and heart open, we had a warm and lengthy conversation full of content and enjoyment without a shred of suspicion or resentment. And when I got off the phone, I felt the expansive lightness of a decision well made, an action well executed, and a spiritual goal well achieved. And further, I had committed freely and warmly to frequent phone communication with her in the future. So, by listening to the still small voice inside, I was able to address head-on that persistent resistance that had prevented me from taking action. And as a result, I was able to free myself and others from another set of shackles of family dysfunction. Well, as I considered the second situation, the one with the abuser, I had a very different solution. I know that the estrangement that I put in place earlier was a well-considered protection. That estrangement has allowed me to get on with my life without compromise of my safety, physical, mental, emotional, or psychic. So I decided the opportunity had come to review the estrangement from a more objective perspective. And I saw that I had essentially put this person in jail, sequestered offline. Was it time that I released this person from the imprisonment of my heart? How could I consider this person objectively? Well, in my head, I was hearing this relationship in very much a judicial context. So I decided to look up the common conditions for compassionate release. And here's what I found. Under compassionate release, offenders are released under the principle for one of two reasons. Either the offender is required to go home and take care of some minor or otherwise vulnerable or impaired relative, or the offender has a terminal medical condition and is not expected to live much longer. But in either case, under compassionate release, the offender must also be deemed unlikely to reoffend. So upon reflection of this objective principle, I was immediately struck with the answer. This offender has an alarming history of selfishness and treachery. I do not believe that A, the offender will become any kind of caregiver in the remotest sense, and B, I do not believe the offender is remorseful or takes responsibility for his or her past actions, or that the pattern of abuse will be by any means renounced. So even in the consideration of compassion and forgiveness in the face of very possible death, my exhortation to be kind in some cases recognize and upholds appropriate personal boundaries. In this particular case for me, the decision to continue to maintain the containment or even the exile in the extreme was born of a candid, dispassionate assessment of the situation And it's not at all about being angry at the person. Rather, I chose to put myself first, to be kind to myself, and further, to be kind to all who will benefit from that decision down the line. So, it is my assertion today, therefore, that to be kind, one may sometimes do what is easy, and what at other times one must do what is less natural. Sometimes kindness exacts from us more than we had expected to surrender. And yet, look at the results. Groceries delivered, music shared, medical supplies donated, relations restored, communities in support. And yes, at times, it is up to us to be our own best friend, to be kind to ourselves. Let us remember to put the oxygen mask on our own face first, so that we can indeed have all the resources we need in order to help out our fellows. So as you go about your business today, this week, this month, for as long as the quarantine may last, be kind, smile, be generous of spirit, pay attention to what helps others stay less stressed. And as Max Ehrmann said so eloquently way back in 1927, be gentle with yourself. Do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Be at peace with God and keep peace in your soul. The universe is unfolding as it should. So stay safe, be well, and be kind.
Thank you for joining us for this celebration of faith and fellowship. We'll be back next Sunday. And for those of you, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can leave them in the comments section. If you appreciate this video and the work that the Center for Creative Living is doing, please press like on the video. You can share the video, and also please subscribe, because that will help this community and the church grow. Remember, in these difficult and challenging times, the opportunity to give and support an organization that has done so much for the community is tremendously important. Please help the Center for Creative Living continue in the wonderful work that it does. We will make it through this. We will be stronger for it. Our faith will carry us. Be blessed, be safe, and have a wonderful week.